Joe Healy, President of the Irish Farmers Association. Joe, enormous turnout here from farmers and industry speakers at your Brexit event in Goffs. What are your members saying? What are your 80,000 members saying to you as we're really about to kick into the real nuts and bolts of Brexit negotiations?
I suppose one of the things they're saying it very clearly by their attendance here today. We haven't a county in Ireland that there aren't farmers here today, and that's to get across the clear message of the fear of the threat of the Brexit negotiations if they go wrong from a farming point of view. That's whether you're dairy, beef, sheep, tillage, forestry, mushrooms, pigs, poultry. It's right across the spectrum. And the messages that we want to get across as an organisation to the Commissioner Hogan, to the EU's Chief Negotiator Michel Barnier, to politicians here and right across Europe, is that we want the least possible disruption to trade between the EU and the UK, but also maintaining the value of the UK market and not to have it undermined in any way by cheaper imports that are produced more cheaply and to lower standards than what we're producing in Ireland and in Europe. But and as well as that, to have a properly funded CAP post-Brexit.
You've had conversations with Michel Barnier, the man who's going to lead the EU and lead essentially Irish farmers through the talks of trade negotiations. What did he say to you? How keen, how interested, how knowledgeable was he on the threats that Brexit could result for Irish farmers?
Well, I suppose the first thing we saw when we went into his office to have the meeting with him was our Brexit policy document, and that was a good start. But now it was one thing to have it there on the table. As soon as I mentioned beef, first of all he complimented us on that policy document. When I mentioned beef, he opened it at the page where beef is mentioned. I saw it highlighted, a biro mark around it and underneath it. And then I mentioned mushrooms and he went to the page that was on. So that proved to me, as well as from listening to him, that he had an interest in the agricultural side of it from a Brexit negotiations point of view. He has a lot of experience at European level, but he also has the experience of being a former Minister for Agriculture in France. So it's good to have someone that understands agriculture, even if it's in a different country, but it's still important. A lot of the issues are similar. France, for example, export a similar €4 billion worth plus to the UK. Now break that into percentages and it's a lot smaller than our 40+%. But no, I was impressed and happy after the meeting with Michel Barnier. And I also say that Commissioner Hogan, and I fully accept and appreciate that he's the European Commissioner. He has to defend agriculture in the 27 EU states. But it's very easy explain to him because he knows them already, the issues that Irish farmers and the agri-food sector feel so strongly about. As he said himself, from a rural constituency, he didn't survive for 25 years in politics without understanding the issues that affect farmers. And not only farmers, but the processing industry as well, whether it's the beef, the dairy, the crossing the border, the all-island status. We have 400,000 pigs and sheep that literally meet each other on the border, travelling up and down from Northern Ireland to the Republic. We also have milk, I think, is it in Bailey's cream, that milk travels back and forth across the border 5 different times before it goes on the shelf. So it's a hugely integrated system. It's a hugely integrated trade, and there are just so many issues, and agriculture in Ireland, and that's the message we have to get across to not only the politicians here but across Europe and also the farm organisations, that if agriculture is affected in Ireland, it will have a knock-on effect on the other countries, because if we're not selling our 270,000 tonnes of beef onto the UK market, obviously, Pat, we're going to look to Europe to sell it. You put 270,000 tonnes of beef onto a market that's already fully supplied. That's going to have a negative effect on the French and the Germans and the Danish, etc.
And is it the conversation that you're having with like minds, be it through COPA, the umbrella group for farmer organisations across Europe, but is it tackling this at a sectoral level, at an agricultural level, rather than Ireland as an outpost on the western half or the western side of Europe, that we're coming together as a group, or is it Ireland fighting for its own interests and Irish farmers fighting for their own interests?
No, look, we represent Irish farmers in the IFA, so we will always fight unapologetically for the benefits of Irish farmers. And at the moment, the potential of Brexit it has the potential to be the greatest threat to Irish farming in any of our lifetimes. We have to defend Irish farming. We have to ensure that the 100,000 plus Irish farmers that, in many cases are struggling as it is, a bad outcome to Brexit would finish a lot of those farmers. So we have to ensure that the Taoiseach, the Minister, politicians here and in Brussels keep agriculture to the top of the Brexit negotiations.
Great, Joe. Thank you very much.